Alright, our game recap. The Saints beat the Rams 27-20 in a game where Andy Dalton looked really good. Let's be honest. He looked pretty good. He looked like the Rams made him look like he was Joe Montana. Let's be honest. They did. You don't allow him to have that kind of a stat line unless you want them to look like Joe Montana. And that's what Andy Dalton looked like against the Rams. The Patriots beat the Jets 10-3 in a very defensive game. We talked about the Jets' struggles on offense in the second half. The wind was a factor. It was a factor because it was causing problems for not just Mac Jones, but for Zach Wilson. And a great defensive game plan by both teams. The Jets did everything they could, and they lost on special teams. That's just what happened. The Eagles narrowly beat the Colts 17-16 in a game that they trailed the whole game. The Colts did a good job. They just couldn't finish it off in the end. And I was like, man, I wanted the Colts to win. That way, if the Cowboys would have won, they're a game out. And they're 2 games out. And then by the end of the week, they could be a half a game out. That's a huge thing. It just didn't happen. The Bengals beat the Steelers 37-30 in a game that probably shouldn't have been that close. But the Bengals did do some good things. The hope is Ja'Marr Chase is back come next week. We'll see. The Cowboys stomped the Minnesota Vikings 40-3 in a game where Ja'Marr Chase with the Bengals, as we had said weeks ago, if you have a game like this, you can't come back from that, really. Same thing happened to Justin Jefferson this past week. Trayvon Diggs covered Justin Jefferson most of the time, not all the time, most of the time. I want to name you this stat line. Forget that it's Justin Jefferson for a second. 5 targets, 3 catches, 33 yards, no touchdowns. Average per catch is 11 yards. That was Justin Jefferson's stat line. The whole game. Not the first quarter. Not the first half. The whole game. The Cowboys did a great job. And also the Cowboys had 7 sacks in this game. The Cowboys did a great job in limiting Justin Jefferson and forcing the other players to have to make plays. It's a great job of the Cowboys. And the Chiefs beat the Chargers 30-27 in a game where I still don't understand how Brandon Staley got a coaching job. Because the weakest... I understand you have riddled with injuries. I get that. I don't understand how, though, you're a defensive coach. Your one thing that you should be good at is defense. It's like we talked about it, Josh McDaniels and the Raiders. The one thing he should be good at is offense. What's the one thing they're not good at? Offense. It's the same thing here for the LA Chargers. Not having a coach that understands, this is what I'm good at, let's do this. Let's have a great defensive team and offense, just keep it going a little bit. That's what they should have been doing. They can't do it. That's embarrassing if you're the Chargers. I understand you're injured, and I understand you almost won, but almost and winning are 2 different things in this league. So, with all saying that, our regular season record is 31-27 as we went 5-1 this week. Let's try and keep this up. Moving into week number 12 in our preview part of the show. The Bills face the Lions on Thanksgiving. The Lions are +9. I am taking the points in this situation. The Lions, for whatever reason, play harder for Dan Campbell than anything. I'm taking the Lions in terms of the points. I'm saying the Bills will win. Lions are keeping this close. Bills win 31-24. Next up, Giants vs. Cowboys on Thanksgiving. The Cowboys are favored by 9. We talked about the injuries. We talked about how great the Cowboys played. Can the Cowboys do it again? I think they can. It's going to be interesting, but I think they can. And with Dak Prescott, I believe they can. Have the Cowboys winning. They'll cover this spread. Scores 31-21. Next up, Patriots vs. Vikings. Last game on Thanksgiving. Vikings are favored by 3. I think the Vikings bounce back. This game has Vikings written all over it. Because the Patriots don't move the ball well. They just don't. They don't move the ball well. They don't run the ball well. But the Vikings give up a lot of yards, as we saw last night. But the Vikings win. Scores 28-24. Next up, Titans vs. Bengals. Bengals are favored by 7. They're favored by 7.5. I'm taking the Titans in this one. I like what the Titans do on defense. They are a gritty football team. They embody their head coach. Taking the Titans. Titans win 34-24. Next up, Packers vs. Eagles. Sunday Night Football. Eagles are favored by 7. If you're a Cowboys fan, you hope the Packers find a way to win this. Because this is what you get. You got 7. The Eagles are favored by 7. You hope the Packers figure it out. But I have to take the Eagles on this one. Close game. But I'll take the Eagles. 34-31. And finally, Bucks vs. Browns. Browns are getting +3. I'm taking the Bucks. Final week for Jacoby Brissett. It won't end well. Bucks win 28-14.